Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Old Try Hard Gaming with me, Roll KCV. You know, they say of me, he does the best he can with what he's got. That's me they're talking about. Which is not a lot of talent, I admit. But it is a lot of, I don't know what I got today. Whoo, caffeinated coffee. Had a lot of coffee. Just woke up. So let's continue my career. I don't even know what I was in the middle of. And why am I trying to play this game with my legs crossed? It's probably not the best way of doing it. Next round. I am not warmed up as usual. I just jump into the game and get started. Because that's the way I do things. I'm a don't really care. I play the game for the love of it, not for the success of it. So that's what try hard means to me. That's the traditional continue the weekend. That's what try hard. You look up in the dictionary what a try hard is. That's the definition you'll get. Now that's what I've always heard it as. Some people now in certain circles, in certain gaming circles, they'll use it as a verb. Like this person is try harding, meaning they're a professional, but they're actually trying to win, even though they're a professional and they know they could win easily, which is a dumb. It makes sense, but it's if you're here because you think that I'm a professional who's just playing really hard to win, that's not what's happening. What's happening is I'm a very incompetent gamer, but I try. I do the best I can with what I've got, which is, as I say, not a lot of talent. Okay, we're continuing on. If you missed anything, you can catch up on YouTube, youtube.com/@RollCageTV. There's off of my homepage, there's a MotoGP 25 playlist. Go to my featured games section and you'll see MotoGP 25 as one of the games there, probably near the end. And
the rider makes her way confidently to the bike.
Then you can catch up on the previous episodes. This is episode, I don't know what it is, 2.19. So that's season 2. Season 1, I won an individual championship with the Moto3 bikes. And now I'm trying to do the same thing with the Moto2 bikes. I'm going to try to win individual championships with... Whoa! I thought the auto thing was still on. Autopilot. Caught me out there. Trying to do the same thing with the MotoGP, the Moto2 bikes. And I'm not going to move up to MotoGP unless I do. So I will probably stay in Moto2 in the next season because it looks like I'm going to not win it. And then I'm going to play MotoGP until I get both a individual and team championship, which may end up being harder. So I am playing in the arcade mode, not the simulation mode, because see earlier statements about not being very good. And but I love the game. I love racing games. That's hence my my nick being Roll Cage. I've had that for a long time. I am Roll Cage TV pretty much everywhere. No underbar except on Twitch. And if you know the guy that has the nick or the ID Roll Cage TV without the underbar on Twitch, tell him I'm looking for him. I've tried to whisper him many times. I think he's probably lost his password or something. Hasn't been active in many years. Twitch says they deactivate accounts if they've been inactive for long, but I don't think they do. Or at least they don't do with anyone who was once monetized. I think he was once monetized. I hate that underbar. But anyway, don't try to reach me on any social media account though, because the only way to reach me is through Twitch whispering. I am on Discord a lot every day. But if you send a friend request to @RollCageTV, I will ignore it unless you first whisper me. Because Discord is the wild, wild west, as we say here in America. And yeah, you never know who's going to try to contact you for some scam on Discord. So nothing against Discord. Like I said, I'm on there every day, but you got to be careful. I do not have my own personal Discord. I don't have my own public Discord for me. I would like to set one up, and I've started to set up a beta version, but the person that was going to admin it for me backed out. He had other commitments, he couldn't do it. And so, sadly, I do not have the energy or the effort to administer my own Discord. I administered a Discord moderately sized, a couple thousand members, a few hundred active members, like online at a time, a couple hundred maybe. So not a huge Discord, but bigger than most, I imagine. And it about killed me. I didn't own the Discord. I was just the administrator for it. And so it's too much effort for me. In part because of Discord being the way it is. You really got to be on top of invasions and stuff like that, you know. I mean, you really got to be on top of things. People will find your Discord and they'll just come in and they'll hate bomb you and stuff like that. So yeah, but maybe there's better tools for it now than there used to be. But my Discord, if I set it up, if I ever do set it up, and I have a bot out there that will do this, Discord does not have, or did not at the last time I looked, which was a few months back, have tools to restrict people to only those that are either follow on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. But you don't have to pay anything to follow on Twitch or to subscribe on YouTube. And I want to keep it open to only those people. But unfortunately, Twitch does not have built-in tools for that. They do have built-in tools for like Patreon or YouTube members, but those are paid things. And I don't want to restrict it to only people that pay me money, but I would like to restrict it just for, again, safety reasons, filtering out hate bombing, people, you know, just restricted to people that have at least subscribed or followed me. Now, that doesn't mean people won't still go ahead and follow me and then, you know, go in and see, oh, I need to be a follower of yours. Okay, I'll go follow you and then I'll hate bomb you. So it still has to be monitored, but it'll make it a little bit better. However, to do that, since Twitch doesn't have built-in tools for it, I have to use a second, an add-on mod. And so that involves making sure that the mod is cool and, you know, nothing untoward is happening. And that requires people to give authorization to a mod to examine their subscription list. And, you know, not everybody's going to want to do that, or their follower list. Not everybody's going to want to do that. So, yeah, there's a lot of work involved in setting up a Discord and then maintaining it. And so I just do not have the time or the energy to do that. But if you want to contact me, the way to do it is whisper me on Twitch. I'm open to all whispers. You might have to have like a verified account on Twitch. Twitch has some base restriction. I don't remember what it is. Okay, I reset when I fall off. That's the only time I reset. Yeah, Twitch has some base requirements. Oh, for goodness sakes. I said I'm not very good. I have the adaptive AI turned on. I think you can't whisper anyone unless you have a verified account. That is, you've given them an email address or something that they could verify that you are who you are. It's odd that Twitch even lets you join without verification. Most places force you to verify an email address or something. But you know, Twitch is pretty old school. But yeah, pretty much you can send me a whisper no matter what. And again, if your whisper is suspicious, if it sounds like you've never even watched the channel and you say, great content, you know, something generic, great content, you should follow me on Discord, then I'll know. Yeah, contact this guy, random guy on Discord who will try to sell you things against your terms of service. You know, try to sell you followers and subscribers and viewers and stuff. They used to do that straight up, offer to sell you bot followers. But they don't do that up front anymore, because guess what? That's against the Twitch terms of service. But you know what they can do? They can tell you to contact somebody on Discord, because if it happens on Discord, it's not Twitch's problem. And you know what? Discord doesn't care, because see previous comments about Discord being a Wild West. Anyway, unfortunate. So that's unfortunate for the YouTube people. You can always leave a comment on a YouTube video if you want to contact me about something, but there's no private messaging on YouTube, sadly. If you leave a comment on YouTube and you want to then private message me, we can arrange something to meet up on Discord. And if you don't want to make your Discord ID public, but you want to give it to me personally, then and you don't have Twitch, then it gets a little bit more complicated. We can contact some other way. Because I would need to verify what your Discord ID is. Otherwise, again, I'm not going to mark you as a friend. Anyway. But if you're on Twitch, the only way that each platform has its limitations. Twitch's limitation is I can't announce anything on Twitch. I can't send a message out to my community like you can on YouTube. There's posts you can set up on YouTube. And if you set up a post on YouTube, then, it goes out to everybody supposedly goes out to everyone that subscribed to you on YouTube. Now, YouTube's notification scheme is all messed up, and you can be subscribed to someone, and you can turn on the bell and say, I want to receive all notifications, and that's all well and fine, but you will never receive a community post from that person unless you specifically go into that person and you read like a dozen previous community posts. Then maybe you'll start getting posts in your YouTube feed. YouTube's really awful about that. They used to be much better, but they've decided, subscribers don't matter anymore. Just because you're subscribed to a channel, maybe you're subscribed to a channel, but we think better of who you might want to watch based on our algorithm. So we're not going to even show you the people you're subscribed to. Oh, you want to turn on all notifications? Well, that's cute. We did this bell thing so that you put on notifications. But, that's just a suggestion to us. Oh, wait, you said you want to put on all notifications? You absolutely want to see everything from this person, right? Okay, we'll give that even greater consideration, but that doesn't mean we're going to do it. It's such a lie. Everything they say about subscribers and whatever is such a lie. I mean, it's the base level of... It's the base level. You have to do that, but you also have to engage with that user on a regular basis as well. And if that user doesn't produce that much content, then you're not going to get notified, even if you say all notifications. But I have, as someone once said in one of my comments, this dude produces content by the hour. Well, not quite by the hour, but I do produce 15 YouTube videos. I do produce, which button is it? I do produce I do upload 15 YouTube videos per week. So it's not quite by the hour, but, you know, it's quite a bit. So, and the YouTube videos are all from Twitch streams. I stream 4 days a week on Twitch, various games, and then have those, the action of those, the main action of those, in general, chopped up in YouTube videos and produce them. So, then upload them to YouTube. So there's anything you say on Twitch is going to be on your permanent record or somebody's permanent. It'll be on my permanent record. So I have pretty aggressive bots set up on Twitch. If you're on Twitch and your messages don't get through, that's I apologize. They're overly aggressive at times, but we don't discuss on this channel. We don't discuss politics. Well, we don't discuss partisan politics, secular religion, Coke versus Pepsi, or Ford versus Chevy. Those are the topics we don't discuss on this channel. And seriously, if you bring up Coke, Pepsi, Ford, or Chevy, you will get a message that says, "Sorry, we don't discuss controversial topics on this channel." That's kind of a joke, but yeah. Does somebody turn me on to WiseBot, which I have not set up yet, but if you're watching this YouTube video, it will be set up by the time you watch this, so don't push your luck. WiseBot apparently uses some kind of new AI thing, and I have my issues with AI, but in this case, I think it's a good use of AI. It's not a copyright infringement use of AI like any AI graphics you use, which just like hoover up all of people's copyrighted content and then mash it all together and try to put the people that worked to create that content out of work and pay no consequences for infringing on all of their copyrights.
Moto2 class qualifying session.
But no, but WiseBot uses some sort of AI, machine learning now. It's not AI, it's machine learning. I really hate the fact that people call it AI. I had a little spill, but fortunately, I have paper towels sitting right here to clean that up so I can smoothly transition. All right. Anyway, let's, one thing I do have to do, mute for a second here. This is my first stream of Saturday afternoon, a weekend afternoon, and I didn't take my allergy pill earlier in the day, so occasionally I might have to mute to take care of things until that clears up. How did I do? Did I make it? Am I in the top 4? No, I'm not. I think at the end of this season, I'm going to reset the adaptive AI. I'm playing with the adaptive AI, but the adaptive AI seems to think that I will never get worse than my best performance. It's got like an anti-sandbagging adaptive AI. And because I did well in Moto2 and had some good weeks, it thinks, oh, well, you finished in first place too much. We're not going to let you. We're not going to let you do that now. We're going to turn up the AI difficulty to match your best performance, rather than turn up your AI, adjust the AI difficulty down if you're not doing as well as you used to do. And of course, being an old tryhard, I don't get better. I played. Yeah, kid, I played video games since there weren't video. I played video games since video games were done with pinballs and tubes and stuff like that. I was a teenager when video games came to the pinball arcades and bowling alleys. I think I first saw them in bowling alleys. I think I first saw them in bars. And no, I was not old enough to drink. You had to be 21. But that's a whole nother
The sky
story.
is overcast and temperatures are
No,
particularly
actually, I
low,
think bowling
so many
alleys where I
teams have
first saw
fitted soft ties to both the front and rear to
video
allow riders
games.
to bring them up to
I
temperature more
saw my
easily.
first Pong game. Or maybe it was in, it could have been in Pinball Arcade. I don't know. I hung out in degenerate places. Only those bowling alleys, though, that had bars and a one pool table in the back that nobody ever played. Well, the only people that played there were hustlers. Little small table. You probably know those bowling alleys. Anyway. Or corner bars, or bars that had one, beer stain, unkempt pool table, where again the only people that played were people that were trying to hustle you out of drinks. The difference between bowling alleys and drinks: the hustlers at bowling alleys would try to hustle you out of $5. People at bowling alleys at bars would try to hustle you out of a drink. So better to play pool at a bar back in my day than in a bowling alley. I also hung out at a lot of pool halls, but that was when I was older. There weren't really, when I was young, there weren't. I guess there was a little. I mean, when did The Hustler come out? Yeah, let's start the race. The Hustler came out 1961, 1960 something. I think the original movie came out, and there was a surge of interest in pool halls. It wasn't everywhere though. It was mostly like an East Coast surge and like a New York City surge. Where I grew up, there weren't. Maybe there was a pool hall somewhere, but there were more bowling alleys than pool halls. But as I got older, when I was young, I took baseball seriously. When I was older, the last competitive thing that I ever took seriously was pool, pockets, billiards, 8-ball, 9-ball, and seriously enough that I played in a few state championships here in Minnesota and in neighboring Wisconsin. Now, they were open state championships, and they were team championships. But I was on one of the best leagues in the state, if I could say so myself. We played on big professional 9-foot tables, and the state championships were all played on 7-foot tables, what are called bar boxes. They're much smaller. 9 foot is approximately how long the table is from cushion to cushion on the longest end, and 7 foot is 2 feet shorter. And yes, those are American units. I don't know what they are in metric. There's so many centimeters in metric, but they're based on the imperial sizes. For reference, a professional size snooker table is 12 feet, so it's even quite a bit longer than a 9-foot professional pool table. And a lot of snooker tables that we will find out in public are 10 feet, at least here in America, unless you go to a really swanky spot. But you're not going to go to find a place that has a snooker table in most U.S. States. Though I have gone to Wisconsin and played snooker on a 10-foot table when I was there for a state championship. Had a lot of fun with it. It's a different game, just like it's a different game on an 8-foot or on a 7-foot versus a 9-foot pool table. It's obviously much harder to make a ball to pocket a ball on a 9-foot table than it is on a 7-foot table. But mostly billiards is about, or pool, I'll just say pool, is about not pocketing a ball. That's usually pretty easy. It's getting the cue ball to go where you want it to go. Getting the proper angle, you always got to look 3 shots ahead. You got to make the shot you're on. You have to look at where you might want to make a shot, the next ball you might want to play, and then you got to look at the ball after that you want to play. Because you have to get the cue ball to a place on the second ball in order to get the proper angle so that you get onto, as they call it, get the cue ball over to make the third ball. So you got to always look at least 3 balls ahead. Now maybe you also plan out the entire rack and how you're going to do this and that and the other. But you always have to, on any one shot, you're looking 3 shots ahead. Now, shots are harder to make on a 9-foot table, but on a 7-foot table, the equipment is completely different. The balls are heavier. The cue ball is heavier. They play heavier because the cloth on a 9-foot table is usually, we played on professional cloth, which is a lot faster. So it's harder to get the ball exactly where you want. It requires a lot more touch, but you have more room for error. So even if you don't get it exactly where you want it, if you get it within a ball's width difference here or there, that usually doesn't make a big difference because you've got room. On a 7-foot table, the cloth is thicker and slower, and you don't have as much room to get the cue ball where you want it, because even though the balls are the same size, the cue ball is a little bit heavier, and for reasons, for coin-operated 7-foot tables, at least traditionally, they're made slightly bigger so that they would, if you scratched, you would get that ball back rather than getting the so that you would get that ball back without having to pay money to get it back. Because the other balls, you have to pay money, get them back. But if you scratch the cue ball, you need to be able to get the ball back. So they had to differentiate it in some way. So there's 2 ways traditionally to differentiate. One is to make the cue ball a little bit bigger. That was the most common way. 2 was to put a plug in the cue ball so that they would use a magnet. That was the more complicated way. Some of the more modern 7-foot tables will use an optical sensor that they can detect if it's all white. But at least at the time I was playing, that was very uncommon to see. And that's still, I think, pretty uncommon in most places, because that costs a lot more money, an optical sensor over just a magnet or a hole that's just the right size. Anyway, and because the cloth is thinner, or because the cloth is thicker, it's hard to get the ball exactly where you want it to be. And no, we are backing up. Thank you. It's harder to get the ball exactly where you want it to be because, it's okay if you're used to it, but if you're used to a fast-running cloth and then you have to play on a slow-running cloth with a heavier cue ball in one way or another, then it's a very difficult adaptation. I'm not saying that it's harder to play on a 7-foot table or harder to play on a 9-foot table. It's different. If you're play on a 7-foot table all the time, you're going to find the cloth really hard to manage on a 9-foot table. And if you play on a 9-foot table all the time, you're going to find the cloth really hard to manage on a 7-foot table. And the cloth is the most important thing. Making the shot is the most important thing. Judging the cloth and the roll of the cue ball is the most important thing. And this is all a way of me saying every time me and my team, even though we would win our league championship, and we had probably the most difficult league in the Twin Cities area, even though we would regularly win the league championship, and would have therefore qualified for the state tournament even if it wasn't an open tournament. And in fact, our league director was on the board of the state the state. Our league director was, because of the size of our league and the quality of our league, was always invited to be on the board of the state committee, championship committee. Because the state championships were played in a 7-foot table, even though we were one of the better, we were generally considered the best team on one of the best leagues. There were a couple nice leagues in the area at the time. We would always do terrible at the state championships. It was very frustrating because even though we would take a month before the championship to play on 7-foot tables, we'd still be playing in leagues during those months. And, so we'd have to adapt to playing in the league on the 9-foot tables and playing on the 7-foot tables. And we made money playing in leagues. And though we had an opportunity to make money playing in the state championships, and the team captain insisted that we practice, and we did practice a lot. I mean, it wasn't required, but we did practice a lot on the 7-foot tables. We weren't going to stop playing in the league because that was like guaranteed money. So yeah, we never practiced as much on the 7-foot tables as the 9-foot tables, and we never made the adjustment. And so we really embarrassed ourselves on the 7-foot tables year after year in both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Billiard or pool competitions are generally, team competitions are generally double elimination. I think even the pros generally play. At the time, the pros played, I haven't followed the sport in a long time. Pros play double elimination tournaments. If you don't know what that is, you can lose one. It's like a head-to-head match tournament, like a tennis tournament, or the playoffs, of other sports. But you can lose one match or one series. If you lose one, then you get moved into a bracket with everyone else that has lost one. And then after that, you can't lose a second one. If you lose a second one, then you're out. So, also I should say for anyone who's chatting on Twitch, I say this every so often, I can't read Twitch chat while I'm in the middle of a race. I don't have a second monitor. My Twitch chat is down at my side on a tablet, and I can't really look over the side. So I apologize to anyone who might be chatting. I'll catch up on the chat later. Anyway, so yeah, we wouldn't always go 2 and out, which is to say we would lose our first 2 matches, because we would generally be pretty highly seeded, so we might win our first match, but then lose the next 2 or something like that. So yeah, we never lived up to our potential. But that is at a time when I took anything seriously, which was close to 20 years ago now. I have not played pool in, let me think of what year it is, probably over 20 years ago since I was really serious about playing in the state championships and stuff. And I haven't really played in leagues even in the last 15 years or so maybe. Got older, and that's the problem. Even though I'm a try-hard now that doesn't care about how well I do, plays video games, being an old retired guy, I have no reason to care. People wonder why I have no ambition to get better at anything. Well, it's because I'm an old retired guy. Why should I care? I know I'm not going to get better at things. I'm just on the downhill slope of anything I do. I have either met or failed at all the goals I ever set. So, you know, the realities of life is more failed than success. But I mean, that's true for everyone. So, but back. So I stopped playing pool about 15 years ago, I think, because I was old enough that my skills were degrading. You know, my eyesight's worse. My fine motor control gets worse as you get older. Even though I was smart, you know, wise, I was like a wizened one of the older guys at the pool hall, and I still could be, if I got back into it. You know, we had some guys there playing well into their 60s who were, you know, would know how to play and could make a amazing shot here or there. The other thing that got a major thing is that my nerves, and it's amazing how much your nerves play a part in any competitive endeavor, and how much it affects, especially a fine motor control sport like billiards or darts or, you know, whatever. So that's you know, that was something that I had a hard time with. I struggle with watching my because you're scored, you know, you have handicaps in leagues, and watching my handicap grow worse and worse and worse, going from being in the top quarter of the league in handicap to the bottom of the league at bottom quarter of the league in handicap, just got me frustrated, and, you know, I took it too seriously, so I stopped playing. If I could afford to keep playing now, you know, I'm tempted every so often to go back and play some pool in organized fashion, but I haven't even picked up my cue stick in 10 years or something. I would have to take the cue I have and get it all reconditioned and stuff now. I had a decent cue. I couldn't afford to buy another decent cue, to be quite honest. But I would still have a lot of fun with it, but I would have to have a different attitude, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Even when you get, you know, to be a stoic, accepting old guy, it's hard to do when you used to have a seriously competitive attitude about something, and then you have to transition into a, you know, just for fun kind of attitude. I was never great at video games. But then, you know, like I said, there weren't video games around when I was a young kid. The first video game system I had was not even in the Atari 2600, which at the time I got an Atari was not called the 2600. It was called the Atari Video Game System, VGS. They didn't start calling it the Atari 2600 until later, like maybe when they came out with a 5200 or something. Now it's all known as the Atari 2600, but. So if you get one that's called the Atari 2600, you know it's not in a first issue. Just a tip for all you collectors out there. But my first video game system was an Atari Odyssey, was a Magnavox Odyssey, which was a program that played Pong. I think it had the Odyssey 2, the original Odyssey. I think was only one player or something. I knew it existed, but I didn't get my hands on one until the Odyssey 2 came out. And it played, the Odyssey 2 could play Pong, which is tennis with, if you don't know what Pong is, go look it up. I'm not your Google dad. You know, you have two vertical bars that you can control with a little wheel, and white bars, and then there's a white square, rectangular bars, and there's a white square ball, quote unquote, and the squares represent paddles, they would call, and the ball just bounces back and forth, and you have to hit it before it goes off the screen. And depending on where on the paddle you hit the ball, you could change the angle a little bit. Anyway, probably most people have to know what Pong was. But actually, Pong was stolen from Magnavox. Magnavox originally had the patent on that. And whoever came out with Pong, I think it might have been Atari, but I keep forgetting to look it up. They were sued for patent infringement and lost a big lawsuit to Magnavox because they did steal the technology from them. I mean, clearly stole the technology and made a lot more money than Magnavox did. All Magnavox did with it was eventually come out with their home console, which the coin-op machines made a lot more money than people buying video games for their home at that time, in the early days. But then, Pac-Man, or not Pac-Man, Space Invaders and other ones came out after that. Big deal when Asteroids and what was the other one that came out that was vector graphics lines? That was cool. Why can't I remember the name of the other one? The other one had it was still black and white, but you played it in color because on the monitor itself, the CRT TV monitor itself, there were color filters on it in very specific places, and so you would play the game and you would see the white lights in color, the white lines in color, depending on where they were on the screen, and you could gauge the different colors, and you had to blast out the outside of this ring, and eventually blast your way into the center. And you had a moving gun that would rotate around. I don't remember what it was. Oh, and if you remember, Space Invaders was colors too. The original color Space Invaders also was black and white, but had color filter screens. I think the later ones did have, Space Invaders would change colors as they came down the screen. I think I think they did eventually make it in color. And then Pac-Man was always in color, but that came out later.
Their final lap. Let's take a look at the final ranking of the race.
And how did I do? My guess is not great. 20th. I am low. Oh, I didn't even make my 15th. I'm not even going to get accepted for this team unless I get enough reputation points. And since I'm not even finishing 15th, I am going to reset before next season. I'm going to play out the season, but before next season, I'm going to turn off the adaptive AI and have to turn off the adaptive AI, turn the difficulty level down, the standard AI to the lowest possible level, run a few races against that AI, and then turn on the adaptive AI, which erases all your progress when you had it on previously. And then run a few races against the adaptive AI again and get it to reset my skill, because it's pretty clear to me that the adaptive AI is running ahead of my actual skill level. And if that doesn't work, I'll just have to play with the non-adaptive AI and try to match my skill level somewhere. Otherwise, I will never get this done. I joke about getting through this game before I buy the next version, and since I only buy these yearly subscription titles every 5 years, because I don't believe in buying essentially the same game, paying full price just for the new bikes and new player names for that year, that I wait every 5 years on these. Which reminds me, I still do not have F1 2025, and I better get that before it's no longer available. Anyway, no, I'm not going to replay. I'm going to continue. I'm going to take my lumps. I better catch up on any chats. Okay. Nothing there yet. Riders Championship. Ooh, I've moved down to 8th. Might drop 2 more places. All right. I'm definitely not going to win a championship this year, so team championships, we're nowhere near. Well, actually, the fact that my team is doing better than me is not a good sign. I'm in like one of the lowest teams for Moto2, so my teammate is not very well. Who is my teammate? I should go back. Can I go back? No. I could look at the stats, see who my teammate is, and see where I compare to my teammate. Yeah, see, I didn't. Oh, no. My reputation points actually went down. I didn't even know that could happen. Ouch. I didn't get any individual reputation points and for that race, and I didn't meet the team objectives. Yeah, I'm never going to get to that next class to even get on the team that I signed up for next season. This is going to be bad. Well, let's see. Let's do the messages. If Arcade really goes on to CF Moto Aspire team next season, things might change quite a lot. Yeah, it'll change for them. Okay. You always want to respond thumbs up, I think, in this game. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it. I don't comment on speculation. Don't worry, buddy. I'm not going anywhere. And see, my reputation with him went up. Let's see. The team is satisfied with the performance at whatever the name of that is. It's a German name. I should know how to pronounce it because I took like 2 years of honors German in high school. But high school was 50 years ago, so. I'm happy I closed in front of Arcade. It's not that I didn't expect to. I just like to keep the tradition alive. Yeah, well, you're a jerk, but I'm not going to respond in kind. I struggle with being behind you, but I'll try to regain the points I lost in the next race. Yeah, okay. You got to remember to do that, because if you don't respond to them, that makes your reputation even worse. Okay, debriefing is available, but I'm not going to do... I know better than to do a debriefing here. I'm going to do a debriefing. Oh, I do have to get my MotoGP page out, because there's a code you need to look for. Gotta flip through my pages here. There are specific things I want to upgrade on the bike, but they don't ask you whether you want to upgrade this, that, or the other. They ask you. You have to know that cornering means stability, and change direction means handling, and fuel control equals, what do I have here? Loses grip, and engine power means closes gap. So they'll ask you closes gap, or they'll ask you change of direction. Anyway, who's my teammate? Now see, that's who I wanted. The star is who I want to be up with, but I need to be winner to get on that status, and I'm not a winner. To get to winner, I have to be at 250,000 reputation points, and you see how far along I am. Now that bar is from the beginning to there. You saw earlier, you saw the bar. I'm not even halfway to winner, and I'm halfway through the season. From challenger to winner. That's from, rookie to winner. So it looks like I'm pretty close, but I'm not pretty close. Yeah, so things aren't good there. And who was my teammate? I want to look at that. I just want to see if I'm finishing ahead of him or behind him. Holgado, Daniel Holgado. And what is it? Right stick for standings. Oh, I won't know in the last race where he finished. That's what I wanted to see, where he finished in the last race. Yeah, he's behind me in the championship, but in the last race, I think he finished ahead of me. I wish I could look at the standings for just the last race. Is there a way to do that? I don't think so. Yeah. If I say left here, no, that's overall standings. Okay, go back. If I say right stick, no, that's just the quick version of, I can't even scroll it. And the team objectives is finish the race in the top 15 and the championship in the top 10. Well, I've got the top 10 racked up. It only shows trend last 5. I have to go back to here. Again, that doesn't show them. I can't go page to page. If I go here, I can see where I finish in each race. Finish 20th, 7th, 17th, 6th, 10th, 21st, 5th, 12th, 8th, 2nd, 5th. So I started off better. I got 1 podium. And up until here, I was meeting the 15. So I was gaining points, reputation points. But then I started dropping. 21st, so I didn't do it. 10th was good. 6th was good. And then again, 17th. 7th, okay. 20th. And is that where I finished off? Yeah. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm halfway through the season, exactly. And because I'm dropping every so often, I'm getting, it tells me, this is points earned, but these are just relationship points. These aren't reputation points. Yeah, I'm looking to move to this other team, but might not happen. And the only reason I'm looking to move to that team is because I thought I had a chance. And I wanted to find a better color. Okay, bike development. I wanted what? I didn't write down what I wanted, but I think what I wanted, looking at the graph, is stability. I guess stability or handling, but stability. Definitely don't want engine power. I want to try to balance things out. Because when I compare it with other teams, every team is like better in one way or another. This one's a little short. I mean, we have a little bit better controlled fuel delivery, but look at their engine power and stability. That area is bigger, and 2 of them were bigger than the other 2. This one, handling is much better. I mean, don't have a very competitive bike is what I'm saying. There isn't much time left in the season. So I want to try to balance this out. So stability, I think it's even between handling and stability, but I think I was working on stability. Let's see what they say. Now, my reputation with the team is not going to go up because the manufacturer, that is, wants me to do a particular thing that I'm not doing. They want controlled fuel delivery. Yeah, see, I picked stability. Last time you told us you wanted to upgrade the frame. What were impressions at software? See, yes, path towards developing the frame. Now, is this what we're going to ask? Are you still having issues with cornering, like you said at Ascent? Yes. Cornering is stability. Yes. We're working to improve cornering. Do you think we should focus only on that, or should we consider the abilities, bike's agility as well? Yes, I want to focus on cornering, like I keep saying. Got it. Thanks for the feedback. We should have all the data we need to get to work. It takes like 4 weeks for them to actually do anything. Okay. It says new. Maybe they actually did do stability. Maybe it was even less, but it still needs to be brought out a little bit. And then maybe I'll do controlled fuel delivery and then handling. And then that's probably all they'll have room for in the season. Well, I am up to 55 minutes in this YouTube episode, which means it is time for me to take a break on Twitch. If you are watching on Twitch, stick around. I'm just going to take a short break, and I will be right back. If you're watching on YouTube, though, that's going to be it for this YouTube episode. MotoGP comes out on my YouTube channel on the weekends, every Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Time. That's my local time. That is almost always midnight in the UK and almost never noon the next day in New Zealand, though it would be if it wasn't for daylight savings time. So it's plus or minus an hour depending on the time of the year. Twitch again, stick around. YouTube, next episode. Either way, thank you much for watching, and I will see you then.